Well, welcome to this Weather Impact show. I am meteorologist Chris Tomer. So this morning we had a weather impact alert in place in central Ohio. We were dealing with a lot of fog. I mean, it was almost inevitable after all the rain that we'd had over the last 2.5 days. It caused a lot of delays, some school delays, and issues out on the road. You're looking at some video of that right now. You're trying to see downtown, but obviously the fog was quite thick in some places. And while all that fog is gone now, our weather impact alert will continue on Saturday for the afternoon as strong to even possibly severe thunderstorms move into the area. Speaking of which, this video is from Oklahoma on Thursday, where a large funnel-shaped cloud and a likely tornado were spotted moving through a major county in Oklahoma. Fairview Emergency Management captured video of the swirling formation illuminated by lightning as the National Weather Service issued urgent tornado warnings for 7 northern counties there. Hopefully, our storms this weekend won't be nearly as severe as those, but a good setup for kind of what we're dealing with here in our forecast. If you've been outside, you know it's warm today, and there's a lot of humidity in the air. I think and all of these things will come together. And so what we need is something to lift all this up. And we've got a storm system on the way. A cold front for tomorrow and midday into the afternoon hours. And the window for this weather impact alert on Saturday is noon to 6 p.m. I really think that's when our best chances are of seeing a line of thunderstorms move basically right through central Ohio. I think they'll be strong. Some of them might be low-level severe as they come through with strong winds, and we can't tolerate any more rain because everything is just so saturated. So if we get any rain, it's all going to just run off. So radar right now is clear across central Ohio. A couple of storms up around Toledo, but really I want to show you something further west. The storm system hitting Colorado today, that's our next storm system. So it will pull out of the Rockies and then sweep towards the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. There's already some moisture out ahead of it, but that whole storm will move in here and help to generate and create possibly severe weather here for tomorrow afternoon. I want to go up to Mad River Mountain, and I believe it is now officially closed. They tried to open, I think they tried to open yesterday, but the weather just is not conducive. It's way too warm. There was some rain up there, but there we go. Another good season in the books for Mad River. And there was an excellent period. They had a great run in January and parts of February up there with cold and snow. Here's our sky view. We've got sunshine, and it's very warm right now. The roads are dry. All of the fog has burnt off. Here's the Scioto Audubon camera, and we're at 73 degrees. So for some perspective, the record high today in Columbus is 76 degrees. So right now we're within, I see 74 on our little bug there on the screen. So we're within 2 or 3 degrees of the record high. Other numbers right now, these are all current air temperatures. I mean, we're at 77 down in Jackson right now, upper 60s up in parts of Mansfield. So there's quite a spread, but overall it is very warm. So over the next 12 hours, it looks like this in the forecast. It stays dry across central Ohio, and temperatures will fall into the 60s. That's it. That's how warm it's going to be overnight tonight. So overnight lows stay elevated in the 60s all the way into Saturday morning, and it does stay dry with some clearing out there overnight as well. So here's our precipitation chances over the next 7 days. So we'll jump up to 70% for Saturday. That's when our chance of showers and thunderstorms rolls through the area. Then it's totally dry on Sunday and Monday, 2 beautiful days with a lot of sunshine. Go back up to 40% on Tuesday, up to 70% on Wednesday. That is another cold front that will be rolling through the area. So the severe weather outlook for Saturday is this. The green is the very low level. I really don't generally pay too much attention to that. But when you start to see the yellow, that is a slight risk for scattered, in other words, scattered areas of severe thunderstorms. And that is a level 2 out of 5. So it's still pretty low level, but generally that's the break point that you want to start to look for. And that does cover parts of central Ohio, including, Licking County's in there, parts of Fairfield County's in there. But what are the risks for tomorrow? If you get hit with one of these thunderstorms tomorrow, it could certainly have strong winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. You may have flooding as well because any any additional rain right now, we just can't absorb it into the soil. So it's going to create some sort of flash flooding if you get hit hard enough with one of these storms. The risk of a tornado and hail are quite low with this event. So here's really the meat and potatoes of all this. Here's our forecast radar, the hour by hour. We're in fine shape all the way through tonight. There might be a touch of fog in some areas overnight tonight. I don't think it's going to be quite as widespread as what we saw this morning, but that's the view at 11 p.m. By the time we get into Saturday morning, it's pretty nice. You wake up, if you have outdoor plans or if your kids have sporting events, it should be totally fine in the morning. This is actually indicating some sunshine early. Then as we approach the lunch hour, this is noon. And so by noon, we start to see a little bit of green popping up on the radar. Then here come the thunderstorms. So this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so anywhere you see these yellows, and especially the oranges, that might be a strong or even low level type severe thunderstorm. So that's 3. There we are at 5. So it's kind of that 2, 3, 4, 5 time frame when all of this is going to slide right across central Ohio. And these storms, again, could contain strong winds and also some flash flooding, and then all of that moves away. So it's a pretty narrow window of opportunity to get this. So again, kind of that noon to 6 p.m. And if you really wanted to narrow it down, it's somewhere between 2 and probably 5. But all of that is done by 11 p.m. As we move into Sunday morning, there may still be a couple of leftover sprinkles or showers in parts of the eastern counties, but this actually has a clearing line coming through central Ohio. So here is your 10 weather impact 7-day forecast. So we are alerting for Saturday afternoon for the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms. On Sunday, it's a distant memory with a lot of sunshine. We do spring forward 1 hour, so do that in the morning. High will be 60. On Monday, a lot of sunshine and quite warm again at 74. A few showers, maybe even a storm on Tuesday. Wednesday, that's a cold front coming through, and the temperature will drop pretty quickly after the front comes through. So we'll probably go from rain and then maybe over to a rain-snow mix by late. Then that will clear, and Thursday should be dry with a high of only 47. So we're going to drop like at least 20 degrees between Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday, possibly a few rain or even snow showers. All right, so this afternoon, many parts of central Ohio are still drying out. Some spots, especially in southern Ohio, received several inches of rain yesterday. In fact, our radar was estimating 3 to 4 inches down around the Hocking Hills. The Little Miami River was over its banks. There was a flood warning down there. And so there was a pretty serious situation. So take a look at parts of Hocking County. At one point, State Route 56 was completely underwater. This is good drone video here to give you the perspective. I mean, look how much those rivers just completely came out of their banks. So BJ Van Fossen he's with the Hocking County EMS. He captured a lot of these images of the severe flooding in Laurelville, where feet of water covered the streets and nearby yards.
The concern is, of course, the bigger issue is cars in the water. And with the remoteness of our terrain out here, a lot of times people get landlocked in where they're not able to get to even a doctor appointment.
Yeah, that's a serious problem. With more rain possible in the coming days, like tomorrow afternoon, officials are urging drivers to obey road closed signs and, of course, never drive through water that of unknown depth. I mean, you could easily wash your car away if it's too deep. And with more rain and severe weather in the forecast for tomorrow, if you see any impacts in your neighborhood and can safely do so, we want to see your photos and your videos. You can send them here to 10 TV. Just text them 614-460-3345, and you could see them featured right here on 10 TV and 10 TV Plus. So, and while we're preparing for rain and stormy weather tomorrow, the Northeast is again preparing for some snow, believe it or not. So now the people living up there say they're actually tired of it. They're sick of having snow. I guess they're just ready for spring. And so we know how they feel. The latest storm to hit Massachusetts is expected to bring more rain and snow. They say the wintry weather has lost its shock value at this point.
For a while I was surprised, and then after that I was like, yeah, the Northeast, what do you expect at this point? But this year has been crazy for sure.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Many businesses in the Northeast say this tough winter has hurt their bottom line. Now, heading into this weekend, we have a sign that not much winter remains here across the country as we prepare to spring forward, which happens early Sunday morning. With the change in our clock, there's also a wake-up call coming from the American Heart Association. New research shows that people have heart attacks and strokes in the days right after the time change, mostly because of how sudden there's a disruption of your sleep and your internal circadian rhythm as a result of this. A Michigan study found that 24% increase in heart attacks on the Monday after the clocks move forward. Medical experts say it's more important to be aware of that increased risk, especially if you've already have heart disease or any of the other high risk factors. Dr. Joshua Joseph, who's the president of the American Heart Association of Central Ohio, the chapter here, and an associate professor of internal medicine at OSU, the Wexner Medical Center, says it's essential to recognize the signs of a heart attack and a stroke and call 911 if you or someone you know is experiencing any of those symptoms, including chest pressure, jaw, neck, back pain, shortness of breath, cold sweat, and nausea. Stroke symptoms can be remembered using the acronym FAST: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Then it's time to call 911. Okay, so as we've been monitoring, don't forget the daylight savings time starts Sunday morning, so you have to move your clocks ahead by 1 hour. That shift doesn't have to take a toll on your sleep, though. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to prepare so that you can spring forward without much of an impact.
It's that time of year again. Sunday, March 8th, spring forward an hour starting at 2 a.m.
With spring forward specifically, people tend to have a little bit more difficulty acclimating to it.
Michelle Drerup with Cleveland Clinic says data shows this shift in time can lead to a rise in cardiovascular events and accidents. Sleep disruptions can also affect mood due to grogginess, headaches, fatigue, and increased irritability.
We just want to be cautious if you're driving in those early mornings after the time change. Sometimes people may decide like, okay, I'm going to on that Monday morning, I'm not going to schedule anything that takes, a lot more focus or high kind of, attention task.
Drerup says preparing now before the time change is key. Start by gradually adjusting bedtime and wake time. Go to bed 15 to 20 minutes earlier and wake up 15 to 20 minutes sooner. She says it's especially important for children and teens.
So it's not a big hour chunk at one time.
Maximizing light exposure in the morning is also key. Drerup says opening the blinds and going outside to walk will help wake you up. And while it's tempting, she says to avoid midday snoozes and not to compensate with over-caffeination.
Which may help in that moment or for that day, but then potentially puts us at risk for having more difficulty falling asleep that night, depending on timing of when a nap or caffeine use is occurring.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Who would drink too much coffee? Come on. Daylight saving time means something else across the nation other than losing that hour of sleep. It means that spring is almost here, and of course, and soon those flowers will be in bloom. Kara Finstrom reports from Carlsbad, California. This is always a good yearly story where those spring colors are already blooming there.
When we learned there was a spot we could drive to and wander through about 80 million magnificent blooms, we had to bring you here. Carlsbad greets every spring with a rainbow of flowers. 55 acres of them are carefully cultivated year after year inside the flower fields at Carlsbad Ranch. And before the gates swing open to the public this weekend, we got a private tour. What kind of flowers are these?
These are actually giant Tecolote ranunculus. So they're kind of a relation to the Persian buttercup. So they're this definitely multi-level petaled flower that comes in 13 colors.
Taylor Moss is the field's operation manager.
In nature, there were about 3 main colors. This red that you see, yellow, and white. And so all the other 13 that you'll find here, we've bred over time.
Moss grew up on the sprawling ranch because her dad works here too. She says the same family, the Eckes, have run it for more than 60 years. They decided this seasonal magic needed to be shared.
They really had this dream of making a flower field something that people could come and enjoy.
So for about 10 weeks each year, the Carlsbad Ranch opens its flower fields to the public. The social media savvy tend to flock for post-worthy shots at peak bloom.
We'll have about 14 to 20 acres in bloom when our guests come here on opening day. So peak bloom happening around beginning of April, and then we kind of fade towards the end, towards Mother's Day.
At that point, the working ranch begins harvesting and selling the popular flowers bulbs. Guests during this year's bloom can also purchase farm experiences, from a tractor wagon ride and blueberry picking to a swirling butterfly encounter.
You get a nectar stick, you can feed butterflies, they'll land on you.
One of the other crops cultivated on the ranch, olive trees. Farmers harvest them to make and sell olive oil. The fields also host numerous hands-on activities for visitors.
We do workshops that involve flowers. You can make flower crowns, you can make bouquets. We even have fun sunset wine dinners at night.
With 55 acres, guests can just wander too and find something many busy Southern Californians cherish: stillness and connection.
The view of the flowers with the ocean in the background, it's in the palm trees, it's spectacular.
Mike and Diane Miller are visiting from Pennsylvania. They pulled over to view the fields from one of the perches built up along Armada Drive. They say while the grass may not always be greener in California, Carlsbad's vibrant spring blooms sure are something to boast about.
I've never seen it anywhere. Fields of flowers, you don't see that back where we're from.
Cara Finstrom, CBS, LA.
All right, well, as we come to a close of this Weather Impact Show, this Friday we want to share some good news with you. It's said that great meteorologists aren't born, they're actually created. And that's the thinking at one Mississippi school that is actually teaching students the art of presentation and weather on television. Asia Ellis has that story.
The new student meteorologist program at North Woolmarket Elementary and Middle School is designed to immerse students in the science of forecasting while building confidence in front of the camera.
The humidity was 65% and the wind was 7.8 miles per hour heading west.
Whenever I'm trying to tell the forecast, I get a little nervous because I don't want to stutter or anything like that. And I'm like, don't mess up, don't mess up.
This hands-on experience will potentially ignite a passion for meteorology and empower these students to see what's possible for their future. WXXV's very own meteorologist Sam Lucy visited the school to show students how forecasts are prepared, what tools are used, and what it takes to build a career in weather.
Each station is different on how they deliver their news, and the different meteorologists that do deliver their news, they all have different personalities. And as a student sitting in a classroom, you want to connect with somebody. So when you make it a fun project, they kind of buy in a little bit more, and then you show them, hey, I can be just like the people on the news and deliver the weather forecast. How do we get there? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to learn about the weather.
We're looking at a high of 63 degrees with a low of 42 degrees.
All right, that wasn't bad. Finally today, let's check out some new video here into us at 10 TV. Big old bear, look at that. Let's keep the good vibes and the spring vibes going out there with this story. This is actually from the UK. I didn't even know they had bears over there. European brown bears delighted visitors at UK's largest zoo. It's at the zoo on Wednesdays as they played outside for the first time this year after months of winter sleep. They left their cozy beds after 3 months of hibernation, a survival skill that they've actually learned to preserve energy during the winter seasons. Footage captured by the keepers at Whipsonade Zoo shows the bears rolling in the grass and enjoying the sunshine as they get ready to forage, an innate instinct by which they are driven. Despite having access to plenty of food, the keepers adapt to what they are fed to match their behavior and encourage them to rest over the coldest months. And one more animal story here, just because it's Friday and we can do it. Watch out, Mooding. I don't know who that is or what. There's a new pygmy hippo sensation halfway around the globe. Wildlife World Zoo Aquarium and Safari Park in Litchfield Park, Arizona, recently welcomed a new baby pygmy hippo named Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean got her name after a public naming contest where people could choose from the different candy-themed options to go along with Mom, Lollipop, Dad, Tootsie Roll, and you name it. When she swims, you can tell she's the happiest little hippo in the world. So that's a good way to wrap all this up. I do want to mention that we do have a weather impact alert for Saturday afternoon on a more important note there. Of course, we will be tracking that. I'll be here this evening, sharing any new details that we get, the different forecasts. We'll talk about the timing through the course of the shows tonight, of course, on the stream as well. We'll look at the impacts from this and potentially how it will affect your Saturday afternoon. Again, right now, thinking somewhere between noon and about 6 p.m. we'll get this line of possibly strong to severe thunderstorms that rolls right across central Ohio. So appreciate you tuning in here to this 10 Weather Impact Show, and just stay tuned. We'll be back later.